actually on the computer. At least I made it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. All right.
But
I
you,
think,
you look like you're suspended.
me?
You're like suspended in like in
Yeah,
the,
I just blurred my background.
yeah.
I could choose a virtual here. Where should I be?
Oh, I don't, it doesn't matter.
That's pretty cute. Nah. All right. Victoria is trying. Maria is ending a meeting. There's a few others, so I'm recording to send this on after. So we're going to do this. And I'm going to do. Okay. In the system.
I'll be right back. I gotta go grab something.
All right. So as we were saying, the I don't know how much you got. Let me just look real fast while it's just you and I. Let me go
Okay.
here. Can you see?
Says you've started screen sharing, but it's not there yet.
So effing annoying.
Yeah. Nothing's easy.
Can you see that?
No, it's black.
All right, I can see it, but you can't. Okay. Cannot connect to Debbie's MacBook Pro. We're both on Orbi. Everything is the way it's supposed to be.
Everything is the way it's supposed to be. All right.
What a bummer. I have a great. Okay,
A great
now because
thing.
because I lost that. Oh well. It's here and I can see it and
Well,
it's
thank you.
and it says Debbie Zoom. All right,
Yeah.
Advanced sharing options. No. All right, so we are. So what one thing I came across multiple times this week is this this concept of not only investing in ourselves, but who are our actual like influencers, like who is,
Yeah.
and who is in our circles, who is influencing, who are we exchanging thoughts, ideas, energy, time, all of this with. And it really becomes a factor in our goals and reaching our goals and setting our goals.
Yeah.
And we can say we have these intentions, and I'm just, I could be exactly on that same path and have these intentions or have these, written down goals and things. But as we are around people that are not on the same path or are not thinking the same, we either can sabotage their thoughts or they can sabotage our thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, the whole, like, I really do think like we talked about it before, but like the complaining vibe is definitely contagious. Like it's much easier.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think I even share, I don't remember if I shared, like when I was teaching kindergarten and I had one really like lovely boy come in. His father was a pastor. He was so well behaved. He was good looking. He was tall, which in Korea is a big deal.
Yeah.
So everybody immediately loved him. And my thought was, okay, I've got 11 kids. They're a little bit more unruly. And here's this kid, he's so well behaved. And I'm like, maybe because they like him, he'll rub off. But it was the opposite. Instead, his behavior got worse. And I really do think that hanging out with people who just think more positively. A lot of negative people don't even know they're being negative. Like
Yes.
you told them, they would be shocked.
Yes, they absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that. And
Well,
negativity and, this ability to take us off of our course and all is so easy to fall into. It's so easy to say, well, you know what, this is the easier path, or this is an easier group of people, or this is more fun, or which you have to choose. What is your, what are you looking to achieve? And even within this intermittent fasting thing, like even when you throw that into the loop, a lot
yeah,
of people are like, what are you doing? Or why are
yeah.
you doing that? Or it's summertime, like what? But it all comes back to,
Lisa, please send.
what
Well,
are you wanting to and willing to kind of negotiate or not to negotiate, navigate, or what are you willing to give up or not give up?
it's an
And
overall healthy outlook toward life.
yeah,
It's a life thing. Like it's a
yes,
life affirming thing. And, to me, that is an everyday thing.
yeah.
It has to be every day.
And as we get older, and especially, women, like men can do certain things a little bit more easily when it comes to intermittent fasting, diet, whatever, because they have the major hormones, like their cortisol can go up and their serotonin, their melatonin, all that. But women, our hormones get very affected much more quickly. So if we understand how to push that envelope, like gingerly to start, and then get into it, and then find that like this mind shift has taken place, that we're okay. And guess what? I kind of like that outcome better. I like the way I feel when I'm doing this intermittent fasting so many hours. So what I had written out right here on my iPad, that for some reason, actually I could have taken my other computer because that links right away, but I didn't, is we have our mindset, like I said in the beginning, is very, very difficult to get even some people to that like 12-hour mark. So when
Right.
you add in your last meal and then sleeping, so say we had, our little diagram here on our axis, and we had sleeping time here, and then this is our fasting time. So the graph is going to go kind of this way. If you have your 8 hours sleeping, and say you didn't eat a couple hours before you went to bed, I mean, the norm is 3 hours. You wake up, you're basically already at 12 hours. So
Right.
the crucial part, the fasting state really becomes between 12 and 16. Because
Right.
although, yes, a lot of people do wake up and eat immediately or go like right for that, a beautiful big old coffee with everything in it, whatever. So right there, they're breaking their fast. But if you were to just stretch it out, that's the part of the mind shift that needs to get into, or can shift into, the norm. Like the 12 to 16 is where you're breaking down some of the things from yesterday. You're undoing a little bit of whatever you had last night for dinner, or what you ate during the day or whatever. So few things that are accumulating within you is really being determined too, of course, as we spoke, from the things you did the night before. What did you eat the night before, or what did you do during the day before? So that fasted state, the beginning is, in my opinion, is that 12 to 16, getting yourself to that on a regular basis. When you are trying to use intermittent fast, not forever, when you're trying to use intermittent fasting for a reason. And for us, it's kind of transitioning into premenopausal, menopause, postmenopausal, like changing. So we really have like a lifetime up to here of stored things in our body. Some are toxic, some are not, some are extra, some are I mean, look at all those crazes for years of supplements we took, vitamins we took. It could even just be like metal toxins and things that are in our drinking waters, or mold somewhere along our line, things like that are stored in our bodies.
Right.
And you start to really, really, really tap into that so the 12 to 16, now you're starting to shift to using some of that stored energy. from the day before. First, you're using all that glucose, like we said last week. You want to get rid of all that first, burn up all that. Then you get into 12 to 16 is more that stored energy. Now you're starting to break down some of that energy to use it for energy.
Right.
Then you get to the 16 to 20 for women. If you can push yourself to that part, that's when the body starts to go back in history. That's when it starts to pull those things out of the body. And not only are we in autophagy, now we're beginning to get into apoptosis. That's when we're really digging deep and going in, and we are like in cell destruction now. Like now we're getting rid of, and we're beginning that regenerative process. So depending on what your why is, why you're using it, is it just a beginning of a cleanse? It is summertime, like we're getting rid of all of this. Or is it this jump start to kind of kick in to gear this new norm way of life where 12 to 16 is that normal? And then the 16 to 20. But if you need it for a really bigger purpose, you're going to, for a while, stay in that 16 to 20. You're going to stay in that harder range, but it's a mind shift. Like, do you
So
want to
is
go in?
16 enough? Or does it
16
have
is
to be
enough
more?
for, no, 16 is enough for starting to use stored energy just from like yesterday. Just from like the energy, like we said last week, first you're going to like blow through all of that, you know, that
'Cause
glucose and that
I'm
energy.
able to do 16 pretty easily, but
Yes. And that's wonderful. And then when you hit
usually
the-
I target it. I'm like, okay, it's 16 hours. Now I'm gonna eat.
yes. So if you were to now start your target, now that 16 is easy, and especially for a purpose, if you are to now going to shift your energy from that 16 to 20, that's when you're draining the tank. That's when you're really going in and you're going to start really cleaning house and cleaning things. So you could use the 20 as it becomes easy and easy so many days in a row. If not, then throw some 16s in there, some 17s, whatever that is, and start to make the longer ones because of the purpose, what your why is right now. You want to lose some weight. We want to clear out some built up toxins because we're getting older and we've got years and years possibly of stored toxins in our bodies and old things that are in there. That doesn't happen on the 12 to 16. The 12 to 16 is starting to burn a little bit of fat just for energy, where you don't need the glucose. You're not using the food you're eating because it's not available. So your body, just to stay in energy mode, to keep up with, like, I have to go to work, I have to walk the dog, I want to go to tennis, that's going to use that 12 to 16 energy available. Now, when we want to go a little bit further into a purpose of cleaning house, draining the tank down, like getting that mindset set of a shift into, okay, my purpose is to, like, for me would be, there's probably years of toxins. I lived in a house once that was, moldy. I used to take all those stupid supplements and stuff. They're stored in my cells. They're stored in my body somewhere. So for me to add in those 20s, it's not to lose weight or do any of that. I want to start that really apoptosis. I want some cell destruction. And from there, that's when the regenerative, the new gets to be built up and becomes more vital and, viable because it's available. Because we've
So I have a question for you. So because of the fungus thing, I've been taking, I think I told you, like, I'm taking a little echinacea, Oregon grapefruit, and then the probiotic, and then the vitamin C, like just to help me get over the, but I take it in, I usually put it all in one thing in a juice. And then, but I mean, it's like about it's not even it's like probably an ounce. Or maybe it's 2 ounces, and then I just drink it down. Now, does that break your fast if you have that in the interim?
Yes.
Like I wake up, it does, yeah.
So the main idea and the main premise is to have your minerals and things in your fast. So like your calcium, potassium, your mineral salt. What am I missing? One more, potassium, magnesium. So if you were to have those in your fast, that's going to feed the fast and keep your electrolytes and things balanced with the mineral salt, like a little dash of your, really good salt. So that will keep you in fast mode and it will help the fast be easier. And then during your feasting time, and you really want to make your feasting time feasting, like your feasting time shouldn't be like a protein bar, because it's not real food, and it's not satiating, and it's not, we're going to try to make the feasting seeds, nuts, avocado, olive oil, like really good, and some lean proteins and some vegetables, things
I
like
mean, I'm strictly using the juice to take the
Yeah.
to take the herbs and stuff. So it's not like, because actually I've only been having one big meal a day most of the time.
yeah,
Like today, my sister was here, so we had a salad at like 6, but
yeah,
I've been eating my big meal at like 2. And
yes.
I don't have it's very easy for me. It's not hard because I've done, I don't know whether it's because I've done a lot or because it's Vata, I don't know. But I have been taking the supplements with that mostly because I don't know if have you ever had oregano oil?
Yes,
So
it's
it's just very,
it's
and
hard.
so I like to take it with juice, but
Yeah.
I'll take it with water. It's okay.
You can just, but even supplements, remember, supplements, you want to take all of those with
During
the
your
feasting time.
feasting time.
And
Yeah.
then a lot of them are fat soluble, remember, so you want to take them with a fat.
Right.
So a lot of the times that, they're not water soluble, depending on which ones you're taking things. So a lot of them, like
Is vitamin
ashwagandha.
C, no? Well, I've only taken, the only thing that I'm taking that's a supplement is vitamin C. Everything else is just an herb.
And vitamin C is water soluble, but even some herbs are broken. A lot of Ayurvedic herbs are broken down by fat. They're carried through the bloodstream. That's why ghee is so important in taking.
Yeah. I think, I'll look up Oregon. I don't think Oregon grapefruit and
Probably
echinacea.
not. I don't remember that one,
don't think
if
so.
it is, but so things like that, you want to age your fast. Extra hormones, all these things that are kind of like built up in our bodies. Now, when we're going through that transition into like the next stage, that 16 to 20 hour is where it's called, I call it like the magic time. That's when the real magic happens in your body. That's when you want it to happen. So I wouldn't go from never fasting or suggesting to a friend or something, come join me and jump right in from never fasting to doing a 24-hour. Some people can do it. If you are full-blown kapha, you can do 48 hours, no problem, because the body's not going to get that unbalanced. If you are an extreme vata, don't do it right off the bat. And even a pitta vata in there, it's because of that energy is too strong. You want to do a 12-14, which a lot of people do just by living, like that's just their easy.
Right.
So many people skip. Well, so many people think they're doing it because they skip breakfast, but their coffee is like a Dunkin' Donuts loaded with all the stuff. So
Right.
so the fast is broken.
Yeah, I gave up the coffee for now.
So, but black coffee and, with any of the hacks.
I don't like black coffee.
I know, but if
So
you were,
good.
you could, you could add the MCT oil or something like that to it and add, or even ghee or grass-fed butter. And that sustains that caffeine release. Takes a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I hadn't had coffee in 2 years and I can do it now, like a little, but so that's when we begin. At 16 to 20 hours is when we really begin to tap into and start getting rid of foods we ate, medications we were on earlier, all this stuff. A lot of it is stored in our tissue. It's stored in it's in our whole little ecosystem in here.
Yeah.
And we want to find it. And, you want that cell destruction to start happening. And, it's how you set so many people I heard, we'll talk to, it's like, no, well, I had this thing at night and it was only 25 calories. I know you're allowed to have that or what, but it's still what you're doing. Even if you're trying those little hacks, it's like, how deep and how important is it to you? So to not add those little things. And if you don't have to, wait and keep them for the feasting time. Just try to drink,
Well, I've been doing
water and
I've been doing it 3 times a day, but I guess I could try triple dosing and just do it once and see what happens. I do what
Yeah.
I do the herbs once in the morning, then once in the afternoon, then once at night, but I'll just do it once and see what happens.
Yeah. Let's look up though what you're taking, because you never know, you might be on that cusp of being able to have certain, let me look that up.
Where can you look it up? On
You,
the internet? Like you just say intermittent fasting herbs? What?
yeah, particular herbs,
Okay.
breaking fast or something like that. But so that's where, and so again, how we set ourselves up the night before, like what we're eating, a lot of people are eating a later lunch, an earlier dinner, and cramming their eating window into like 4 or 6 hours. But again, it's some of the things you're eating at that last meal will either make you super hungry in the morning or not really care. Like you wake up and you're like, because you set yourself up with so if you were to have a little bit of your rice, sweet potatoes, baked potatoes, something like that at night, you don't set yourself up for those cravings really in the morning. If you're having a little bit of meat and vegetables and, say a tiny bit of white rice, actually, believe it or not, is easier on your system, much easier to digest.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Than brown
I
rice.
actually I have both.
Yes. But if you were at night to have more of that sugar and that pasta and,
Right.
sauces, I mean, you just naturally going to be more hungry in the morning. So you're going to kind of be like, oh, I can't fast, so choose things. If you're going to have certain things like that, have them in the afternoon so that your body can already process and it's not going to give you that, oh my God, I have to eat. So you
Right.
have to, people can not understand it, but it has to be like, why is it important to you? Why is this new little shift in eating or mindset? You have to kind of write down or put in your journal. We have the Dave Asprey journals, which are kind of cute. You can circle and do, but again, it's really important to know our why. Like we already know what we're doing. We're intermittent fasting, but why are we doing it? Or why are we doing anything in our goal setting? Whatever our goal setting is, it sort of has to be really important to you to really make that shift into doing it.
Right.
And if we're looking to make it, that better transition, that more anti-aging kind of a thing set up for ourselves, then we're going to want to kind of have that really dialed in so that we can actually enjoy that transition, so we can enjoy how our body is shifting into this and not have, I mean, I had so many friends where menopause was horrible for them. And I was like, well, it's not really that bad. And I mean, and they always say, well, how was your mom's? What was your mother's like? And my mom's was twice as bad as mine. So it truly is like how you are taking care of your body is how it's going to take care of you. No, you are muted. Are you unmuted now? I don't know why you're muted, but you're muted.
I'm muted?
Yeah, now you're okay.
Yeah, I agree that and like I think I already explained, like I actually a lot of times actually went off sugar, went off dairy, went off bread, and I felt great.
Yeah.
It's just that you get back for whatever reason. And also because I don't drink very much and I'm not a drug, so your social interaction mostly is done over food. And and also because people don't really understand the connection between food and how you're feeling, like your well-being, people will I'll be like, oh, well, I don't want to eat sugar. And then, my family will buy like my favorite caramel or whatever. Oh, but here's the caramel that you love. Or, oh, I bought you those cookies. I'll be like, all right, I'm not eating sugar for a while. And they'll be like, but here's your favorite cookie. And I'm like, well, so I don't know whether it's not just not being listened to, but also because they don't have that connection between what you eat and how your body responds.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't. And it's very strange to us who are more kind of aware of things. And it's I don't understand, because there are so many people in my circle, and I understand 100% where they're, they don't, because labeling and packaging and all shows that it's food, or it's, it's enriched with, and they're, the argument is, no, it's food, it's this, it's that. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
it sort of is food. It's not really food, but
It doesn't look like food. It's probably not.
yes. So it's again, it's a mindset. It is it's a belief. And it's one you have to choose whether, it's important to you or not, or how much is it important to you to say. But so that's, to me, that 16 to 20 is that really, really important piece. It's that really important part to really start cleaning out and to make a really noticeable shift if your why is to get into cellular, lose weight, like do some kind of major house cleaning. But again, you don't want to have to do that particular forever. Then, if you have a family meeting, if you have a fun, party, or you're going away, you'll be able to shape shift yourself in and out of this. Or once you reach your particular goal, then the daily could be back, because now you feel like you've cleansed out the body, or you're on maintenance mode, or you're on cruising. Then that 16 can come back and be that can be more of the normal, and that can be more of the everyday. And then those 20s are for 20s and 24s. Those are for when you have gone away, gone out with family, had those parties, whatever, and you want to kind of like course correct. Then you can shift into, that mode. So it's really pretty fascinating that you have all these options to come in and out, depending on what it is you want and how important it is to you. And to what level you want to take it is all up to you. But I mean, within myself and within just learning it, and really over 6 months, a year, like really starting to integrate. I mean, I had done it all through school differently, just doing the overnight fast, which always kind of turned into 14s and 15s and 16s. But because going through school being so vata, it was like, you don't really want to imbalance that vata. So don't do it to the 19s, the 20s, the 24s, make sure that but you get yourself to that part where you understand how to bring into it and how to get out of it. And then your body does not fluctuate on these major up and down scales. It just starts to take over in this mode. And you're like, wow, that's really easy. And then, you start to.
Well, I think that mine was always more extreme. I did, 10-day fat, but it wasn't, it's not it's not like it's a water fast. It was like, I did the master cleanse. I did the Arise and Shine cleanse.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I always felt great afterwards. So
yeah,
it was hard, but I can see that there's also a swing in, this seems more balanced, which is like, it's not so extreme.
yes.
So maybe it would work better long-term for, maintaining your health.
Yes.
So it's definitely worth trying.
So we can go through this. What are we on? Like day 7, right? I think we're on like day 7, and we're going to go to 10. So by the weekend, if you wanted to do the liver cleanse, I don't know if anyone has triphala. There is.
I used to have some, but I don't know if I have it anymore.
I have a ton of triphala. So,
all right. If I can't find mine, I'll.
If you were to. So there's in the emails that I sent last week with the agenda on, the notes I sent after the meeting with the recording on it, there are some pitta teas that help cool the body. Like you always want.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, you can go to like the corianders and the lime and you know, a CCFT that'll help kind of like cleanse things out
Yeah,
of
I
the body
actually
in
have all the
general.
ingredients for the, wait a minute. I have the ingredients for the Pitta morning one.
Yes.
Oh, Pitta
Okay.
reducing tonic, sorry.
All right. Did you, and so the cumin, coriander, and fennel, that's a very, very digestive tonic. It's very good at cleansing and kind of helping digestion happen on a more, it kind of like, it fires up that digestion to help things keep kind of like making their way down, that Apanavayu, like that downward movement. And
Oh, the one that I have is the turmeric, cardamom, and the lime and the aloe.
that's for
I
the
have
real
all
liver
those.
cleanse.
Oh,
for-
that's the liver cleanse, the reducing tonic is the liver
Yeah.
cleanse.
yes.
Okay.
And then if you, by the weekend, like say you wanted to kind of like purge out a little bit on, after drinking, if you were to drink that morning pitta tea, say Thursday, Friday, and if you wanted to, if you were going to be home Saturday morning, you would make your ghee and then put the triphala in it, kind of make your a little bit of a paste with the ghee.
Uh-huh.
And you would take that the night before. So this is going to, this will break the fast that night, but it's for the liver, you know, and, you know, kind of cleansing part of it.
Okay.
And as you took the tablespoon of ghee and a teaspoon of the triphala, you kind of mix them together and make a taste. And it's just like in the, you know, Laura, you've done the spring and the fall cleanse when you're doing the ghee. Well, this is the ghee and you add in the triphala, which really like kind of pushes everything right out. So this helps, but the triphala is very balancing to all of the body. And then you would add in a little bit of your kind of the electrolyte water in the morning with some lime and some lime is better than lemon. Lime is cooling, a little bit of mineral salt in your water. And then you would drink that.
Now, when you say mineral salt, is that like Himalayan salt or is it
Himalayan
different?
salt or like an actual
Okay.
a good salt, like a, you know, a good some actually, if you can get a good brand, it'll say like mineral salt on it. It has a mineral content to it.
Okay.
That's kind of what you're looking for. That's what you want to go for. And along with that, say you don't have wild plans on Friday night, if you were to finish your day and you were lucky enough to not have a whole bunch of distraction and just give yourself, you know, some prayer time, some meditation time, some kind of like just quiet, very quiet by yourself time, and start maybe not listening to TV, maybe don't get on your computer or whatever happens to be a distraction. And this doesn't have to be right now at this point. If you are lucky enough to find that you have this ability to say one day coming up in a week or so, where you could just be by yourself and go in and do some, whatever your meditation, prayer, sitting in silence, kind of like very beautiful time to yourself, and turn off all the media. You know, whoever happens to be in your circle, you know, I'm not going to speak tonight. I'm just going to I'm going to give all of my senses a rest so that, especially now, it's beautiful at night. We could even go sit outside for half hour, an hour, 10 minutes, and just let like that energy come in, but be quiet, be silent. Like, don't answer the phone. Don't go in and turn the TV on. Don't open the computer. Like,
I was thinking about texting everybody and telling them that I was going to take a day.
yeah.
A day.
Yep. So when we were in school and doing different little spiritual days and things, we would absolutely unplug for at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
You know, 48 hours.
I did a vision quest once. It was, and so 3 days you're by yourself. And it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of amazing what happened.
It's beautiful. In the beginning, you're like, oh my God, now what? Like, you know, my girlfriend couldn't do it at first. And I was like, I'm not talking. So
It was a long time ago though. I did that.
Yeah. So the thought of it is like, oh, this is really great. And then you start to get into it and you're like, oh, okay. But then after a while, it's almost something you're craving for a minute. It's like, okay, stop talking. Like, don't talk to me, or just let me go kind of sit down here. Or then you start to seek out quiet places. Like, I'm just going to go. And it's really quite beautiful. You know, if you're into prayer and you want to go sit somewhere in prayer, if you want to go meditate, if you just want to smell the ocean or green trees, or it's amazing to let your other senses open up and really start to come, into play, where normally it's like our eyes and our ears and our mouth. Those three senses are overload all the time. Like go, go, go,
Yeah.
go, go. We're here. All day long, we hear things,
Yeah,
we see things,
crazy.
we eat things, we speak things. But the sense of touch and the sense of just being, and that, like, just that, using your intuition to say, yes, I want to do this or not. And believe it or not, when you tune everything out and say you were eating something or you were outside, your sense of smell becomes heightened. It's
Yeah.
really beautiful. You start to smell things and you're like, wow, that's really beautiful, because you're letting the other three senses kind of chill out and go away for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's that's a really beautiful way to end, especially if you're lucky enough to do like a 24-hour silence and you go out into that, and then you just quiet time, just quiet nature, quiet wherever happens to be.
Now, is intermittent fasting a part of the Ayurvedic thing, or is that separate? That you're just bringing it in as a health thing?
No, we are calling it now intermittent fasting, and in all Eastern philosophies, especially in Ayurveda, and even back 10,000 years, 100,000 years ago, we had to, because it took 2 days to find another meal. The body was designed to actually feast
Right.
and famine. And in Ayurveda, fasting is a very regular thing. And most of the time it is, at least, so it's before the sunset, it's your last meal. And then most times you don't eat nothing, not even your tea or anything, until after 7 in the morning or later, or waiting for that, so they'll have a cup of chai or something, and then lunch is the main meal. But fasting is and then spiritual fast, 2-day fast, 3-day fast, 5-day quest. It's huge part of it.
Oh, so that's it is similar in some ways to, like, I mean, I don't know, I really know very little about the Ayurvedic stuff, but I mean, when you do any kind of natural healing or natural bent, their fasting is usually, 3 days or 7 days or 10 days.
Yes.
I'm changing my internet because it's saying it's unstable. So I'm going to put you onto my, I'm going to use my iPhone as a, the hotspot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to switch it. I don't think it'll break the connection, but I'm just letting you, sorry.
You might be gone for a minute. All right. There's 3 quick little tips too for intermittent fasting that'll like help your fast be longer and more enjoyable and easier. And like to fast long, fast well, and fast smart. So and be authentic to you, like what's working for you, or what feels good for you, or what doesn't. So you want to feast to fast. So you want to make sure you're absorbing good quality foods, like I said, in oils and things, and not just eating like that zone bar. What do they make zone bars anymore? Bars and shakes and all these things, because that's going to absorb very quickly, and the body has to think a little bit too hard. Like with fake ingredients, the body has to go back into thinking mode. So if we are to feast smartly and really kind of give yourself a full feeling, a very full feeling, then the fasting part becomes easier. So how you feast affects how you fast. So those higher quality fats, nuts, seeds, fish, protein, meat, lean meats, really good sourced vegetables, things like that are going to give you a really sturdy meal or two, and the fast becomes so much easier because it's a prolonged release and breakdown of these really good, and the fat satiates you so much longer. And then hydrate properly. Like don't just slam a Gatorades or something in between. Go for that like good sourced water. Add a little bit of your sodium, or if you have mineral water, very good choice. Maybe you like your herbal teas or some coffee or something, whatever it is. The coffee will dehydrate you, so don't add the coffee in and the hydration, add the coffee in just because you want the coffee. And then sometimes when we add the mineral salt to our water, it actually helps us retain more of that water. So a vata especially is to have salted water. It's easier for the vata to actually retain and hold on to the water, and especially as it goes through the colon. A lot of things deplete the colon, and a dry, as we get into vata season of life, if we're vata as well, the colon will be more dry and it doesn't have that ability to absorb the minerals and things that it's supposed to. So it's super important. Add a tiny bit of oils and salt to your, especially salt to your water. And so, you know, thirst, are you thirsty or are you hungry? Like, you can drink water and take a sip, but you might think you're hungry, but it's really not. Like, drink as we do, like drink your water all throughout the day. When I wake up in the morning, it's easy. I get that whole first, I drink a quart of water. I drink like the Bell, one of those Bell
Oh,
jars
that's a
quart.
yeah, yeah.
And, but that also helps with that Apanavayo as well. It pushes things down. Water's heavy. So you do drink that hottish, warm water. So there's already a quart of water, although that is the heavy. But if we drink it all day long, we're going to keep hydrating the body, and the body will feel less hungry because it's really thirsty. Again, have your supplements when you're feasting, not when you're fasting. Have your minerals and things when you're fasting. And
So
then
you can do herbal teas, no problem.
Yeah, there's really no calories in it, and they're definitely giving you, especially like if you were to have chamomile at night, that soothes you, that gets, you know, down. Tulsi tea in the morning is extremely healthy and good for the brain. Like, that gets things going. Ginger tea, very good for digestion. Like, all these little things that are fantastic.
Okay.
So, and then like create that fasting opportunity. Laura, you and I have spoken of this many times. At the nighttime, sometimes our nighttime habits, especially like at wintertime, they're so hard because it's dark early. We come home and we're like, shit, now I'm home. I'm bored. I'm going to watch TV and I'm going to snack, or I'm going to have my dinner, you know, early. And now what do you do? So maybe schedule things around that time where maybe it's a little hard for you to keep that fast going. Like, maybe schedule a yoga class or schedule a meeting at night when normally it might be eating time or something. Or I think, Laura, you and I have spoken of, go for a walk with a friend, or go run some errands or something at that time when you're fasting, because it pushes you past that time when you normally wanted to eat. And then you can come back in and just have your, hot water with lemon before bed, or some chamomile tea or something like that, and you've already skipped that whole window until you're going to eat the next day. So make your fasting, like, create a fasting opportunity that's going to work for you. So whatever it is that might make it easier for you and kind of keep you out of that mode of, well, normally it would be eating time right now, or, instead of jumping right onto, or if you have something that's really going to distract you, you have a big project to do on your computer or something, jump on the computer and do it. Because when you get into a project, you're usually a little more focused and not caring about eating. Yeah. It's when we do the fun, mindless watching TV and stuff, it kind of goes hand in hand with a snack, or the refrigerator's really close. But if you,
it's definitely the sitting around, watching TV, even trolling, even checking email.
Yes.
The kind of mindless stuff. But if it's a project,
you can jump into it.
Or if I'm out running errands, which I don't really like to do that at night,
Yeah. I've always been that one, like, kind of busy work during the day and all that. Now I want to, like, get out for a while. At that time I would go, I would schedule, there's an open yoga class, or there's an open something, or I'm going to go run to the store and go do something, and kind of just, but it used to be for a different reason. It would be to, like, get out and do something with other people, or go do something. But it really works to help with this nighttime eating, to skip the thoughts of eating. So create that opportunity. Or if you're the person that it's harder, you grow up having breakfast every morning. do your breath body practice or do something that's going to keep you out of the kitchen and wanting breakfast. A lot of people are really heavy duty breakfast people, or you shift your intermittent fasting to have breakfast and that later lunch. You know, some people aren't dinner people. So whatever works for you, create that opportunity that makes it easier. So, you know, one would be feast to famine and then hydrate properly and then create an opportunity for your fasting that makes it easier so that this doesn't have to be such a, because as you ingrain this into your habit, the benefits are amazing. And it becomes like, I mean, you get to the point where you're like, oh, they're eating or they're doing, you know, someone else is doing this at that time. And you're like, oh, that's right. I used to do that too. But, and then it makes it really fun. Like when there's a dinner party or something and you're involved in it, and you're eating and who the hell cares? You're back to a 12-hour. Then you don't care. You had fun and you're shifting back into that metabolic flexibility. Now the body's like, oh shit, there's glucose available. Let's use that for a little bit and jump into that. So you're making the body kind of think a little bit, which is very good. But again, if your why is super specific and right now you need to be a little bit stricter, stay with the longer fast. And again, it's not forever. It's till like when we reach our goals or when we feel, you know, you listen to podcasts, you read books, you do all things, and it's be your authentic self. Your authentic self is when it feels that good for you, no one else. Like you can listen to my guidelines, you can listen to something you read, you can let family influence you or your friends or whatever. But when you start to feel something is working for you, you're achieving at work, you nailed that job, you just got a promotion, you know, you did whatever, you lost your weight, you made your hike up to 5 miles, whatever it is, and it starts feeling right and really good for you, you're being authentic to you, not to the media, not social media, you know, not to a book you read or something. It's when it starts feeling really good for you. That's your authentic self. When you start feeling the benefits like, shit, I feel really good today. Like what I did yesterday worked, so I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
Because it's working for me. It's not working for my brother, and it definitely didn't work for, you know, my coworker, but I feel good. It's working for me. And Laura, every time you have a tiny little something that worked, give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself a holy shit, I did another hour. Or I went for a walk today instead of doing, you know, something else. We have to learn to really celebrate the wins, even if they're this big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kaizen
that's something I don't do.
Yeah, and that's the
for
Kaizen
myself.
approach to life. Kaizen, I don't know if you've ever heard of that, Sebastian. It's small incremental shifts and changes every single day. And when you add them up at the end of the year, it's this huge improvement, but it's tiny steps every single day, not skipping days, not skipping 3 ladders and jumping up, you know, this much because you're going to fall back down again. It's every day a tiny little bit so that it adds up. And then that's when the habit shifts and becomes habit, not something you're trying to, you know, induce. I mean, you know, kind of introduce into your routine. It becomes habit. It just happens. So the Kaizen approach is that tiny step every single day. And every time you do it, praise yourself for it because you want to reinforce that positive dopamine rather than that, like, you know, fake dopamine where you went out and had a blast and had a party and you're like, oh, I had so much fun last night. And last night you felt really great. And next day you feel like shit. So don't celebrate that win. Celebrate the win that like really made a difference and really felt good. You know, it's like, shit, I can do this. That was great. Or, you know, sometimes with me, it's like hitting a deadline or writing something I don't want to write, or, you know, I've learned over and over and over again, and all my mentors and everything, the same thing. They're like, do the hard thing first. A, the hard thing is done. And then B,
yeah,
feel
if
accomplished
I
when you
can
do
get
something
myself
hard
to work
first.
out in the morning,
Yeah. You feel
then
really,
it's done. And
and
I'm
you
like,
feel
okay,
compelled to
I
do
did
more.
it.
Yeah. You're like,
So-
shit, I'm good. I can do the next thing. And
Well,
the next thing's
no, I
usually
mean, I
easier.
have to celebrate that this morning I took a 30-minute walk and then I did 20 minutes of core work.
Wow, that's excellent.
So,
Yeah, amazing.
So you should have come back in the house and been like, woohoo, I did it.
yeah, but you're right. I just did it and then it's like, okay, it's time to go to work. There was no celebration. There was no
give
pat
yourself
on
a
the
high
back,
five.
you know?
Write it down like in your journal or even on your calendar. Check it off. I did it. Like there's a little star in your brain. Because if we don't recognize that, we're going to keep really recognizing what we didn't do. And then that becomes the known behavior. We have to override that by constantly reinforcing whatever the better behavior is, because that becomes the known behavior. And every day, like, you know, I'll finally like send out, you know, a post or something. And I kept telling myself, all right, you know, send out an Instagram post or do something on Facebook. And then I'm like, oh shit, well, now I got to get ready for work. And then when I do it, I'm like, yes, I did it finally, you stupid jerk, just do it all the time. But because it's not, it has to just start to become habit and routine where it just happens. And whatever in your mind is the harder thing, do it first. We all should do the hard thing first. Then the day is either easier or you're so compelled now to keep going. It propels you into that mode of continuing that motivation. It creates motivation. So little tiny wins, praising the wins, Kaizen approach a tiny bit every single day. And again, feeling how you feel in this intermittent fasting challenge. Like if you can push yourself. And if it really felt good and it feels like you're making some kind of progress, then that's right for you. And be really happy about it because your body's saying, absolutely, keep it coming. This is fantastic. You know, we're like sweeping out the old shit. It's cleaning house. It's emptying that tank of filled toxins, which we all have. I mean, you could think you're super healthy and fit and clean on there's shit in there. You're not 100%.
Yeah.
My God, especially half the stuff we did as kids, I laugh all the time. I literally in college, because I ran all through college, all 3 seasons and everything. So we ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. So we used to just eat crazy food and drink a ton of alcohol, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday in school. I would come home and literally buy like a Breyer's ice cream, like the big thing, and sit on the countertop with my roommates and eat almost the whole thing. At least half.
I can do that.
Like at least half of it. But then the next day at 5:30 in the morning, I have to run 10 miles. So I guess it didn't matter. But I mean, year after year, like eating, you know, Oreo cookies by the package full and like all this stuff, that's stored somewhere. That is still in my genetic makeup. It's still in there. So you kind of trying to get clean house so that our hormones can really keep us going for a very long time. We want to keep our hormones balanced. We want to clean out our cells, and especially the brain. Remember, if we're not doing this at night, the brain is not cleansing at all.
Have you ever heard? Oh, sorry. Have you ever heard that it takes like for every year that you did some poor, like behaved poorly, you have like it takes 1 month to like, do they have a similar thing in the Ayurveda or no?
Yeah, absolutely. They do. It's extreme. It's very similar. It's the same thing. Once you build up something that you did, like it takes a concentrated amount of time to undo that and get rid of it. It's not like a quick.
Yeah.
So let me look. So the detox cleanse, if you feel like you have some residue in the pipes, things that you want to kind of get out of there too, and some, like if you're doing the intermittent fasting, you're up to 16s and 20s, it's starting to pull some things out of the cells. It's starting to get these things, and if you want to help push them through, you can do that Trifla and ghee cleanse. You can do the CCFT. Laura, I think you did that during the cleanse. Cumin, coriander, and fennel. Drink a couple of these, like hot teas, things like that will start to help the digestion, like bring it through. on one night, you can take that and just like help flush things right out. I think you were doing the ghee during the cleanse, I think.
I did the ghee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you add the, particular herbs to it, it like really helps flush things out.
Okay. I didn't do that last time.
And the cooling, you're still down in a little bit hotter climate. If you have cilantro and lime and coriander, cumin, things like this are cooling to the system. They actually help cool the system down.
I love
I agree, we're not-
cilantro and lime and avocados. They
Yeah,
all go
but
really
you
well
like all the
together.
spicy stuff too.
Yeah, I do.
Let me look 1 second too. Let me just pull up my notes here because I have a couple.
Okay.
So as we know too, so this summer, so the element of pitta is fire and water. So that's, and if your dosha is pitta as well, you're even more aggravated in this season. Qualities are light, hot, oily, sharp, liquid, and mobile. Those are pitta qualities. Those are the gunas of that. And then the balancing qualities would be heavy, cool, dry, soft, and slow. So picture that pitta person, and they're like usually like light and all over the place in the brain. It's not really a vata thing. It's like this air, that's this heat, this, fire. And then the balancing taste, you want sweet, bitter, and astringent. So remember this bitter, the pungent you don't want, and the salty you don't want in the summertime if you are in a very hot climate with a pitta constitution. So Laura, I think you are more like pitta kapha. So
Definitely heavy on the kapha right now.
right. So too much salt you don't want right now. Like literally, if you were to put for the minerals, if you're fasting, you literally want to take a little bit of the mineral salt and just sprinkle it in. Try to stay away from salty foods because it's going to help you, if you were a vata, retain the water and retain the fluid.
I know.
The bitter and the astringent is going to pull things from the body. It's going to shrink tissue, tighten tissue, and remove from the body.
So how's kimchi?
Kimchi is very spicy, like a sauerkraut, to add that fermented to your body. But see, they're both very salty too. So right now, like asparagus, kiwi, things like that for the prebiotic, they're actually a little bit better than those spicy fermented other foods. Yogurt, a very good like coconut yogurt, something that has a lot of prebiotic in it, and probiotic. Those are a little bit better than the kimchi. I mean, it's really good for me with that vata sometimes, and that salt to help me retain some fluid and kind of moisten up the colon area, but not great for a pitta who's living in a pitta. And right now, the
like I said, I'm actually kapha, right?
Yeah. You could spice up, don't do the sauerkraut right now, but you could spice up with the kimchi to get your system moving, but have a little bit of it, just a little bit, because that would actually kind of help your system move a little bit faster and kind of get
I have a recipe I was getting ready to, it's, essentially stir-fried tofu with kimchi.
Okay. Yeah, just don't put, probably calls for a quarter cup or something of kimchi, put a tablespoon.
So that's hardly worth eating.
I know, kimchi is so good.
It's going to be the vegetable. I mean, it was going to be like this bunch of kimchi with the chunks of tofu in it.
But you know what? If it heats you too much, then have the cilantro, the coriander, things like that are going to cool you down. Because I mean, the spices might help that kapha move shit out. So, see how you feel.
Yeah, I do know that salt is not good for me. That's part of my problem. I retain water. I take a diuretic. I have to.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So be very mindful.
Medication wasn't enough by itself.
Yes. So that bittersweet and astringent for the, you want to avoid sour, salty, and pungent. And you could have these tastes. There's a spice mix that will balance. Fennel, coriander, licorice root, cumin, cardamom, and turmeric. And if you grind a few of those, let me turn that off. If you were to put them in a grinder and keep them, you can actually put them in a tea and drink it. You know, you would have to kind of put it in a tea bag. But if you were to put those spices on those, that's a very good summer pitta. You can make like a little extra in a container, equal parts fennel, coriander, licorice root, cumin, cardamom, and turmeric. And it could be a tea mix or a spice. If it's a tea, you've got to kind of strain that off before you drink the tea. Or I put it in a little container sometimes and have it and sprinkle it like in my food preparation.
Yeah, that would make sense to, like
Oh, here,
with the
you know what?
vegetables or whatever.
Let me do this. I can copy and put it in our, let's see if I can put it in our chat because it's one of my,
Yeah, but then it disappears. How about a copy and stick it in an email? Because the chat just
I think you
disappeared.
can copy that and put it right on your notes. I can send the chat too with our recording.
Let's see if I can get it.
I know, I wish I could share my notes that I made.
Something weird
but-
going on here. I don't get it.
Oh, cucumber toner too. So I made this. So I've been doing the Ayurvedic facials, which are, oh my gosh, next time you come to New Jersey, Laura, the spices, the oils, the different things we use for an Ayurvedic facial. And then you do the toners, and then you actually do this wand, which creates this nice cheekbone and stuff again, and pulls up like all this that's starting to come down, like starts to lift that back up. And you do use a Kansa wand, and it's just amazing. But right now we have
Sounds
so
good.
much cucumber
Okay.
available. You were to just take cucumber. So while I'm doing it, I actually slice the cucumber and I make this cooling toner that I do on the faces. But then you take the cucumber and just either put it on your eyes. But if you were to make your little spritz bottle, and especially Laura, it's going to be hot for you a little bit longer. I can send that recipe too in the, let me remind myself. Recipe toner. It's really, it's very, very simple. You take cucumber and you just put it into a blender, and then you can, or if you have a juicer, it's easier. And then you just take the pulp part out of it. When I'm doing the facials, I use the whole thing. And then you take the cucumber juice, add a tiny bit of glycerin, vegetable glycerin, maybe a teaspoon, and a little bit of witch hazel, and you shake it up, put it into a bottle, and you spray it. Like, say you went to play tennis, say you went to play golf, took the dogs for a walk, like whatever it is, and you're and you just spray this on you a little bit. Sometimes I'll make another one with a rose or orange water, and that one you can use. But the qualities of the cucumber cool the skin down right away, which cools pitta down right away.
Yeah, I just got a new bottle of Thayer's witch hazel toner.
Ooh.
So yeah.
Oh, well, if it's an organic product, you could probably take a little bit of that and then grind up your cucumber and actually mix the two, because the cucumber is the cooling agent. Witch hazel, you don't want a lot of it because it is cooling, but it's very drying. So depending on, but you're down in a very hot area right now, so that would.
Yeah, there's a lot of humidity down here.
Yeah,
it's not
but
dry.
the cucumber
here
is the toner. So
just the cooling, yeah.
And then just the witch hazel normally is just a splash, just a splash of it. But I make all these, crazy oat, fuller's clay and oat, and I'll put watermelon and cucumber with a little bit of rose petals and things into this mask. So when you get in a facial, there's like 3 masks in it, and it's this beautiful, like, hour-long process. It's so nice.
Sounds good.
Yeah. If you can find anyone by you that offers an Ayurvedic massage facial, seek it out and see if you can do it. It's really, it's amazing. Regenerates our youthfulness in our skin too.
Cool.
All right. Any questions?
Works for you.
Yeah, I also get to do, I can do like little mini parts of it all the time because I'll make a batch and then I'll use it for like 2 or 3 days. But a little bit of oatmeal and yogurt and honey and lemon, and you just mix this up and you kind of wash your face with it at night and stuff. Like, I haven't bought products in a long time, years, like stuff. I just make it up.
Yeah, making it's better.
Yeah, it's fun. All right. Any questions? Anything? So if you can continue or push yourself or do your, like, mindfully do your feast and your famine. And if you don't have great plans on Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday night, and you want to just kind of do a little bit of that spiritual, like, silence, and then do like a liver, cleanser purge, that really helps in the summertime. It releases that heat. If not, we can actually go through it again, like, next Wednesday, if you want, I can send out the recipes or something different. We can do them Tuesday, or we can do them, Wednesday. You guys let me know what you want to do. I'm going to send this recording to the other ladies, and then I'll ask too what everybody would like to do. So whatever you guys want to do, we'll do next. Either add in the cleanse on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that, the liver.
Okay.
But kind of keep in mind what part of the intermittent fasting is working for you. And if you're up to a 16 and a 20, and the 20 becomes easy for a day or 2 or 3 or not, see how it feels for you and do it. And sometimes you're like, shoot, I'm at 22 hours and, doesn't feel that bad. So you'll know how your body's feeling and listen to it. But again, sometimes depending on what you ate the night before, the body could be mimicking a hunger and it's really not hungry. Like, have a little bit of water with some salt in it and let those, like, minerals kind of settle in, and you'll be like, nope, see, I wasn't hungry.
Yeah, I
just
definitely
thought I
don't
was
drink
hungry.
the water.
Yeah. All right, ladies, thank you. No
Thank
questions?
you.
Any and kind of help yourself too. Again, share this with someone of like mind. If anybody wants to help and kind of join you, you can kind of tell them what you're doing or send them the little packet or something, like share it with them. And because sometimes when we do even more of a buddy system, every bit of it becomes easier. Like, who you hanging out with on the weekends or something, you might want to say, you want to try this with me? I'm really
You
feeling
find a
good.
lot of people interested in it.
More and more
Hey,
people
I'm gonna jump off. I have to get myself packed tonight because
Oh,
I've
yeah.
got a full day at work tomorrow, and then I'm leaving at
And you're off,
3:30
yes.
to go
3:30,
meet
wow.
my sister. And
Yes. Well, you enjoy.
Bye,
okay,
Laura.
have a good weekend.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, ladies, have a wonderful night.
Bye.
Sebastian, did you get, let me stop recording.